All right, so moving it back to college football, CIA AA conference. We got our boy in here, Jay Wise. Recently, he called the Down East Vikings Football Classic. Yeah, that's right. Fayetteville State versus Elizabeth City. It was a bit of a blowout, but my man was out there on the ones and twos, getting the slanging and banging. So, with further ado, Jay, let us know how the experience was, man. We got to know what's going on. How was it?
Great experience. I talked to want to shout out my man Clay Mercer, who's the program director at the local radio station down there up there in Elizabeth City, who gave me the opportunity. Still haven't met him in person, by the way. I thought I would meet him on Saturday, but he was I guess he was offsite or somewhere doing he was actually on the radio call. I got to call a live stream, which was on the CIAA sports app. So it's kind of a big deal, at least the way he put it. Kind of a showcase for the entire conference, neutral site, something that Elizabeth City State been participating in since the late 90s. Fayetteville State has been their most frequent opponent in that game. Historically black colleges, so a lot of pretty big deal. In Rocky Mount, place I'd never been. Nice little town. Had more of a, gotta admit to you, the whole stadium had a high school feel to it. I was up in the press box. I felt like I was really close to the action. He had binoculars on standby for him, but I didn't even end up using them one bit. I got there about 3 or 4 hours early. Ended up time actually before the game went fairly quickly. I ended up speaking with a couple assistant coaches on each side, trying to get some of these names together. Got some of these names. I just need a little clarification. They're not the easiest names in the world, but overall, got on the mic a few minutes before kickoff. Had a little scripted lead that I went through. One of the things I was thinking about is I don't want to get on here too quick because the stream started probably 30 minutes before the game, but I didn't get in there until I think right after the coin toss is when I got on, and then had about a minute scripted lead that I used for my opening, and then from there we got the kickoff, and now I'm just describing the action that I'm seeing before my very eyes, and then it was I told Clay after the game, I was like, man, that was great. It's something that I wish I could do. If I could do it every day for the rest of my life, I think I would. It was that, and considering it really, in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't that much of a game. Fayetteville State ended up winning 47-6. They're obviously one of the stronger teams in that conference. They've been in the CIAA championship game 3 consecutive years, so that's a good football team. But it was a great experience. I ended up talking to a couple guys up there in the press box. You can hear on the broadcast, you can hear the public address announcer, in the background. He actually, I think at first we was playing off each other just a little bit, and then as time went along, he started just following what I was saying. Whatever I was picking up with my eyes, he was going with it and calling it out to the crowd. There was some wild things going on. At one point, there was a drone that was flying on the field, and I was like frozen at that point. I was like, I probably could think of something to say here, but I'm gonna just let this pass. And then the sports information director ended up getting on the PA mic and was like, no drones should be flying on the field unless they're with Elizabeth City State Aviation or whatever. So that was kind of funny, but all in all, it was a great experience. My first time being on a broadcast, calling play-by-play. Got a lot of positive reviews from it. Spoke to Clay. I was fortunate enough that Clay spoke to me after the first quarter, after halftime, and after the game as well. He was very kind and told me I did a fine job. And after the first quarter, he ribbed me a little bit. He said, Jay, you're doing terrible. I need you to pick it up a little bit. I was like, oh God. Guess I'll start packing my bags here. And he's like, no, you're doing good. You're doing good. Keep it up. So all in all, just a great experience, and hopefully I'll be fortunate enough to be on the call again shortly.
Yeah, it was a really good, real smooth app. Yeah, I checked it out, and that app was nice. You had the field and everything. It was a nice, clear picture, and your side was real clear and everything. But it was interesting because you were the only guy in the booth for the stream, and a couple days before, you're like, oh, I'm by myself. That's kind of a little trial by fire. How did you balance the the commentary with the play-by-play stuff? You found a nice mix of it. How'd you wind up doing that?
Yeah, it ended up being a little bit easier than I thought. Just not having to bounce back and forth between another person. I want to say when I got in there, I had a lot of material that I had prepped. But in the end, when I sat down, in front of with the mic kind of to my left, like basically how I'm set up right here, I had my rosters in front of me. I had the depth charts in front of the rosters, and I basically just used that. I kept it pretty simple. There were times where I would reference other material I had, but I just kept it as simple. Especially for the first broadcast I was on, and I really. As far as the play-by-play and, any analysis that was in there, I kind of, for the most part, I think I just stayed in my lane. There's probably more analysis that I could have provided, but I kept it kind of simple, just describing what I was seeing, formations, substitutions that I saw coming in and out, and just, obviously what I was seeing, when the play was live. I really didn't get into much analysis at all. But just probably because I guess I was just so focused on what I was supposed to be doing. But it was I did not know that we weren't going to have a color analyst until probably about middle of last week. So that was definitely a thing I was thinking about. I was like, man, if we're gonna have an analyst in here, I sure would like to meet this guy and get a little chemistry cooking in here. But that was something I was definitely thinking about throughout the week. Didn't turn out to be that much of an issue.
Did a good job, man.
So this league didn't play a season last year due to COVID, correct?
That's right. Yeah.
So when you showed up to the stadium, you looking around. When you down on the field, you talking to assistant coaches. You kind of soaking in what's going on. How was the vibe as far as like was people? Did you hear a lot of COVID chatter? Did you hear a lot of hey, you better make sure you have on 3 masks. How was the vibe around? Because to me, like this is what I wonder. And as I look at these big Division I stadiums and they're packed to the brim, shoulder to shoulder. Some people got on masks, some people don't. Then I look at the stadium that you was announcing for, and it's a little more like you said, it was a closer proximity. And like you said, it was in a smaller town. I don't really know what their views on with everything that's going on in the world. So how was that? Did any of that throw you off at any point?
I had my gator on me. I want to say at one point, I think I talked to Clay when I was on the road up there. I know it was in an email. He said like, have it on you. I honestly, I didn't end up, I don't think I wore it once. Maybe I'll hear about that down the line. But it didn't turn out to be a big deal. I will say, like, before the game, because like underneath the bleachers is the path to like the press box, and a lot of the players were just like hanging out down there at first. It seemed like they were all like, they just had them on, and I want to say a lot of the fans that I passed by, like, before I made my way up to the press box, they had masks on. It was kind of like it was a kind of a thing, but it didn't seem like to be a huge deal because, everybody up in the press box wasn't worried about it. And it wasn't one of those situations where, people were like mass shaming or anything like that. I didn't see that. But as far as the overall vibe, there was behind the visiting side, big open area. That place was just packed with like RVs and tents and all these other things. There was like when I got there about 1. And you could see just like so much like tailgating area, big deal. It was funny when I got there, I was going to park across the street. I pull up and there's people, working parking. And, I ended up, telling people what I was there for. And he's like, yeah, you need to park over there somewhere. I'm like, oh, all right, well. And they kind of, she was like, telling me where I needed to go. So I pull on across the street. And then I'm trying to like ask people where do I go now? Like where's the media like access point or whatever? A member of the media, who'd have thought it? And I ended up the dude that I ended up talking to, he ended up like he just saw a spot open like right outside the main entry point, and he was just like, yo, just go park over there beside that car and in between that police officer who was like just hanging out there. So I ended up like get out of my car and I was like right at the like gate. So it was like the same thing coming out
the
too.
best.
I got out of there pretty quick at the end, so I kind of beat a lot of the traffic as well. But that was just cool. Like get out the car, because normally, I go to any type of game. Like, let me go ahead and look up the parking situation and make sure I got my walking shoes on. But like that was that was tremendous. Like, and then, I made my way up to the press box. I mean, that wasn't, it wasn't a far walk at all. Got up there, got set up. Chick-fil-A ended up catering. They had 25 meals up in the press box. I meant to grab one at halftime. I went downstairs to, use the bathroom, and Clay ended up calling me. We was talking for like 5-10 minutes. I made my way back up there. Food didn't even cross my mind. I ended up eating after the game, but it was quick. It went by quick. I had a little break here and there after the quarter, and halftime was about 20 minutes, but it went pretty quick though.
So before we get out of here, I think we'll be remiss if we don't do this. Next time we're gonna see you win and well with 5 W's. What we got?
I wish I knew, to be honest with you. I did ask Clay when if he had an expectation when I'd have a chance to do this again. He didn't. I think they're working out. They're trying to try out a handful of people to see I guess who might be the best fit. But so I don't know at all. But I'll let you know when I know. Y'all will know, and so will everybody else. That's I'm definitely excited about it and looking to do it again real soon.